Hello there, Dan the Rare Coin Man here, and I'm back with another video production from rarecoins101.com. As many of you already know, I enjoy making videos to spotlight individual coins from the key date list of recommendations that you'll find on my website, rarecoins101.com. If you're not familiar with my website, let me explain to you what the key date list of recommendations is all about. It's a list of roughly 300 or so United States coins that have demonstrated an outstanding performance over a very long period of time in terms of percentage price advancements. The coins on this list are the cream of the crop, the blue chippers, the cat's meow, however you want to say it. The bottom line is this: they outclass the vast majority of U.S. collectible coins. And that information is important for collectors who want to acquire coins that not only bring joy, but also have the best potential to increase in value. The key date list of recommendations is all based on factual long-term value trend histories. So today we're going to have a close look at one of the very finest coins in United States numismatics, the 1821 capped head $5 half eagle. Now, the story of the 1821 half eagle reflects that of quite a few of the early U.S. gold coins, generally defined as those struck from 1795 to 1834. All right, are you ready? Let's do it to it. You know, I once had an 1821 half eagle, but my cat ate it. Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. To be honest, most of us collectors of ordinary means, that's me and most of you, I'm sure, really probably have no chance of ever owning an 1821 half eagle. Its rarity and price tag have catapulted it far beyond the reach most of us collectors. And that's true for so many of the early U.S. gold coins. Now, when you study mintages of the early U.S. gold coins, it's not like they're microscopic or anything at all like that. Every year, there were mintages in the tens of thousands, if not 100,000 or more. Not bad for a new country just starting out with a small population. So why, then, are early U.S. gold coins so valuable and highly prized? The answer is survivorship. Over the years, coin collecting experts have pieced together evidence to reasonably estimate the number of survivors for rare coin dates, including early U.S. gold coins. The Professional Coin Grading Service website at pcgs.com provides survivor estimates, which I frequently consult for survivorship numbers. Now, when you research the numbers, you'll see the survivorship rate of early U.S. gold coins is unbelievably small, much smaller than other coin groups. When you look at it from that point of view, it's understandable why they are so rare and command lots of collector attention and high price tags. Of all the early U.S. gold coin types that have suffered heavy losses, nowhere is this more pronounced than with the capped head $5 half eagles of 1813 to 1834. So I went through my red book and entered into a spreadsheet the mintage of all the individual dates in the capped head half eagle series and determined the cumulative mintage for them all to be about 1.4 million pieces. But the number of survivors from this group is estimated by PCGS to be just a bit above 1,600. In other words, 99.9% of the capped head half eagles perished. They're gone forever. And that's about the lowest survival rate of any U.S. coin type. It can't get much lower than that. That's pretty darn close to zero. So, how and why did this extremely low survivorship happen? To find the answers to these questions, we must journey back to the very first months and years following the ratification of the United States Constitution. That's where we'll get started. The U.S. Constitution took effect on June 21st, 1788, after New Hampshire became the necessary ninth state to ratify it. The first Congress was seated on March 4th, 1789. There was Vice President John Adams, 22 senators, and 59 representatives in the House, who first met at Federal Hall in New York City, a building that was demolished in 1812. George Washington was inaugurated on the balcony of Federal Hall as the nation's first president a few weeks later on April 30th, 1789. What must Washington have thought as he took the oath of office? He certainly understood there were many unknowns that lie ahead, as he himself said in his inaugural address. The United States was, quote, the experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people, unquote. But as he spoke, the future was far from certain. Nevertheless, in an age ruled by monarchs and tyrants, the American experiment in ordered liberty was underway. President Washington and other leaders in the new republic acknowledged the importance of establishing a national coinage system, but they were faced with the immediate tasks of organizing the new government and making it operational. Consider the challenges they faced. At the beginning, there was no Supreme Court, no federal laws, and no law enforcement officers. There was no federal treasury and no method for raising money to fund the U.S. government. There was no military under the command of the new federal government, but within a few years, a fine military training academy was established at West Point, New York. There was no navy, but by 1797, a small fleet of U.S. Navy warships had set sail. Among the first of these was the USS Constitution, which remains an active duty ship serving in the Navy today. There was no protocol or policy for dealing with foreign nations, but this had to be dealt with quickly. For example, the Jay Treaty of 1795 aligned the United States more with Britain and less with France, leading to political polarization at home and the emergence of the American two-party system. There were no executive departments to assist the president with his duties or officials to head these departments. President Washington held his first cabinet meeting on November 26, 1791. And, moreover, the new government was saddled with paying off an enormous debt of $75 million accumulated from the Revolutionary War. Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton devised a successful plan to pay off the debt. One indirect result of Hamilton's plan was that in the year 1800, after years of preparation, the national capital was moved from Philadelphia to the banks of the Potomac River on land donated by Virginia and Maryland. The new capital city was named Washington in honor of the first U.S. president. The Constitution granted Congress the power to coin money, but there were many questions on how this was to be accomplished. And as important as it was, establishing a national coinage system for the United States was not among the immediate top priorities for President Washington and Congress. So, it would have to wait a few years before any legislation was passed. Finally, on April 2nd, 1792, a bill was passed by Congress authorizing the birth of the United States Mint and the issuance and regulation of national coinage. The Mint Act of 1792, sometimes called the Coinage Act of 1792, stipulated, among other things, the following. The mint was to be built in the capital city of the United States, which at that time was Philadelphia. When the nation's capital was moved to Washington, the mint remained in Philadelphia. Here is an artist's rendition of how the U.S. Mint might have appeared in its earliest years. There were three main mint buildings, but notice the building closest to the street. This was the very first federal building constructed under the authority of the Constitution. It lasted until 1911, when it was demolished to make room to expand an electronics business. The act specified mint officers and their duties. President Washington appointed scientist and clockmaker David Rittenhouse as the first mint director, who served from 1792 to 1795. The dollar was set as the base monetary unit of the U.S. The dollar coin was to be made mostly of silver. Subunits of the dollar coin were also defined. There was the copper half-cent coin and the 1-cent coin, the silver half-dime worth 5 cents, and the dime worth 10 cents. In 1792, dime was spelled with an S and actually pronounced as deem, but the S was dropped by the time silver coins got into full production. There was a silver quarter dollar worth 25 cents and a silver half dollar worth 50 cents. The fineness of all silver coins was specified as 89.24%. Copper was intended to be 100% copper, though impurities were common. Gold coins were also authorized. A gold coin worth $10 was called an eagle. And from that, we got half eagles worth $5 and quarter eagles $2.50. The fineness of all the gold coins was specified as 91.67%. The act required United States coins to display certain features. For example, every coin was required to show an impression emblematic of liberty. For the impression emblematic of liberty, the allegorical image of Miss Liberty was chosen, inspired by the Libertas Americana medal originated by Benjamin Franklin and first struck in 1782 in Paris in celebration of the successful American Revolution. The Libertas Americana medal is on the left. To the right is a Liberty Cap half cent. See the similarity? That's how we got Miss Liberty on our coins, something that lasted into the 20th century, although she did switch over to improved hairstyles along the way. Thank goodness. Every U.S. coin had to include an inscription of the word liberty and the year of the coinage, as you see here on this 1796 Drake bust quarter. Upon the reverse of each of the gold and silver coins, there was to be the figure or representation of an eagle and the inscription United States of America, as demonstrated here by the reverse of this capped bust $10 eagle. In addition to all this, the Mint Act permitted individuals to bring silver or gold bullion to the mint for conversion into coinage without any processing charges. The mint did it for free. Now, this next provision is really important because we're going to come back to it in a few minutes. The Mint Act set a bimetallic standard of silver and gold and valued silver to gold at a fixed ratio of 15 to 1. Another way of saying it is that it took 15 ounces of silver to equal the value of 1 ounce of gold. Now, here's a thought-provoking thing. The act authorized the death penalty for any Mint employee who committed fraud or was caught embezzling government resources. Interesting. Very interesting. As we just covered, the Mint Act of 1792 adopted a bimetallic standard setting a rigid 15 to 1 ratio between silver and gold values. However, the law had no jurisdiction outside the United States. Within a few years, silver mine output in Central and South America increased significantly. One of those mines was near the city of Potosi in what is modern-day Bolivia. The Cerro Rico mountain, pictured here, supplied much of the world's silver for centuries. The influx of new silver onto the world market drove down the price of silver. During this period, the price of gold remained stable, leading many countries in the early 19th century to adjust the silver to gold ratio to 16 to 1. And sometimes it reached as high as 18 to 1, while the United States maintained a ratio of 15 to 1. Now, in this ratio discrepancy, bullion profiteers saw an opportunity. Oh, yes, they did. Let's walk through a scenario to see how they took advantage of the situation. So, here's a world map from the year 1811. It's from the same time period of this study, so rather appropriate, I'd say. So, for example, a speculator could take 15 ounces of silver, or some other unit of measurement, to the U.S. Mint there in Philadelphia and exchange it for 1 unit of gold in the form of coins, and then export the gold coins to Europe, where they could be exchanged for 16 units of silver. Then the speculator would return to the U.S. with more silver in his pocket than he started with, set aside his 1 unit of silver profit, and repeat the cycle as many times as possible. This little game played out for decades. And as an added incentive to exporters, the Mint provided free assay services for raw gold and conversion into coin form before being sent overseas. That made it easier for the speculators to turn a profit. And what happened to the exported U.S. gold coinage? Foreign governments welcomed the heavier U.S. gold coins, melting them down and converting them into their national coinage, consisting of lesser gold weight. Reportedly, on a single day in 1831, 40,000 U.S. half-eagles were melted at the Paris Mint. This scenario seriously depleted the supply of gold coins circulating in the United States. Congressman Ezekiel Whitman had this to say in 1821. There have been coined at the Mint of the United States nearly $6 million in gold. It is doubtful whether any considerable portion of it can at this time be found within the United States. Well, he was right about that. The great majority of U.S. gold coinage issued from the 1790s and into 1834 succumbed to this same fiery demise. The massive meltdowns were finally stopped when the Congress passed a law on June 28th, 1834, to reduce the gold content of American coins. The weight was reduced by a little over 6%. That's all it took, 6% less. Now, these meltdowns and the problems they caused occurred for more than 30 years, and it took Congress a long time to address them. So, even back then, the government operated at a slow pace. So now you know why so many of the early U.S. gold coin dates are so rare and incredibly special to collectors. The capped head half eagle type was released starting in 1813 and ran until 1834. But as we just explained, few of them reached America's streets before heading across the Atlantic or elsewhere. The 1821 is one of the rarest dates in the very elusive capped head half eagle series. Coin experts estimate that maybe 15 to 20 examples still exist today. That's all. And wow, what an amazing value trend record this coin has. Let's look at a few charts. All right, so here we are at the home page for rarecoins101.com. To get to the charts for the 1821 half eagle, you would go to this link right here to the key date coin list. But before I do that, just give me a minute or two to brag on my site. This site has a lot more than just a list of recommended key date coins. There's stuff here that would be useful for people who are just starting out, trying to learn about coins. So, but there's also material here for seasoned collectors as well. The Collector's Rare Coin Index, I think, is one of those things where uh, it's a chart, monthly index of the performance percentage wise of 100 of the best known United States rare coins. So the idea behind this index is to measure the strength and direction of the current rare coin market in the United States. But there are other things here too, but don't want to dwell on this too much here. So let's go ahead and click to the key date coin list link here. So from there you go to the key date coin list, and just head on down directly to the list. As people who have seen my videos before know, that I've got several different groups here. There's the good group, which coins have done really well and have earned a place on the key date list recommendations. Then there's the better group, which they're a little better. And then there is the best group, which is the best of the best. And then there's the classic rarities group here as well. So the 1821 half eagle belongs to the best group. So every one of these links will take you to a page dedicated to that particular coin. So there's the 1821 capped head $5 half eagle. So let's click this link. And here we have the history of the coin and why it's so special. So let's go on down here to the picture of the coin right there. And you see it belongs to the best group. Now, the trend line average, I'll come back to that in a minute, but this is the price trends of this coin in fine condition starting in 1990 up to the current time. And in 1990, the coin in fine condition was selling for a little over $2,000 retail. And now it's up to $32,500 approximately. So it's done quite well. Now, this trend line slope is an indicator of how fast the coin is increasing in value percentage wise. And really, anything 13 and above is really good. It's a special type coin. Well, look at this thing, 51.51 in this condition. There's other conditions here. You can see some the trend lines for it, and they are quite impressive. This thing is really a rock star, with the trend line average being the average of the trend line slopes averaged for the conditions studied. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conditions that are studied. And the trend line average for the 1821 half eagle is 37.67. And that is one of the absolute best trend line averages you're ever going to see. And you can also, there's a chart here where you can look at the percentages by condition. And then there is the trends going back to 1950. So that's what this coin was selling for in various conditions in 1950, and it takes you all the way to 1990. So the 1821 half eagle is a stellar performance in terms of percentage gains over a very long period of time. That's how it made the key date list of recommendations, and that's how it got into the very best group. It is a very special coin. As we have just seen, the 1821 capped head $5 half eagle is truly one of the legendary coins in United States numismatics. Whenever an example hits the auction block, which doesn't happen all that often, everyone in the coin business eagerly watches for the result. Just for fun, let's have a look at the finest known 1821 half eagle. Here it is. This one is a real screamer. It's a problem-free proof 65 with a beautiful cameo contrast. There are only 2 known proof specimens of the 1821 in existence. One of them is in the National Collection at the Smithsonian Institute, and the other one is right here. You're looking right at it. In 1885, a collector named W. Elliott Woodward purchased this coin you're looking at right now for $17. This exact same coin sold in September 2022 for $4.62 million. Wow. Now, I haven't ran the numbers on this yet, but I'll say it's moving along, I'd say, at a pretty good clip over the last 140 years. Now, if you're starting to think, yeah, I'd like to buy one of those, well, you won't have to pay millions to get one, but it's going to have a big price tag. You can bet on that. Tens of thousands of dollars at least. But whatever you pay for it, you should be confident of reselling at a much higher price when the time comes. It's just one of those coins. Well, I guess that just about does it for today. Thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate your time. I'll be posting another video in a few weeks. It might be a video focusing on another coin from the key date coin list, might be another sleeper coin, or it might be some other topic related to US coin collecting. I haven't got that figured out yet. Whatever the topic might be, I always have fun making videos and talking about coins, and I enjoy hearing from you. I am both humbled and honored by all the nice comments, and they motivate me to do even more. I realize my videos aren't the fanciest or glitzy, but at least they do come from the heart. Thanks again for watching, and if you thought this video was worthwhile, please click the like button. I'm really pleased that so many of you have done that, and I truly appreciate it. And many viewers are also hitting the subscribe button. Man, I'm ready to go the extra mile for you guys. Okay, until next time, this is Dan the Rare Coin Man signing off. Happy collecting!